Moving on to more local news, Deputy Speaker Chandima Veerakodi says the visiting British parliamentary delegation has commended post-war reconciliation in Sri Lanka.
The British parliamentary delegation that arrived in the country recently met with Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa at the Parliament complex today. The delegation informed the Speaker of their stance regarding Sri Lanka's progress on post-war reconciliation and development. Deputy Speaker Chandima Veerakodi was also present at the occasion.
We have very much enjoyed. We went to Galle yesterday.
අපේ රට ත්‍රස්තවාදය අවසන් කරලා ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය ශක්තිමත් කරමින් ජනතාවගේ හිමිකම් ආරක්ෂා කරමින් යන ගමන පිළිබඳ
They made positive remarks regarding the strengthening of democracy and the protection of people's rights following the end of terrorism in our country. They also observed that Sri Lanka is making preparations to successfully host the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. They also spoke very highly about the hospitality and friendliness of Sri Lankans.
දකින්න බවත් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නට යෙදුණා. ඒ වගේම ලාංකිකයන්ගේ මිත්‍රශීලී භාවය සහ ආගන්තුක සත්කාරය පිළිබඳ ඉතාම ඉහළින් කතා කරන්නට යෙදුණා.
And up next is Action TV.
In spite of problems pertaining to process and accuracy, the best source to determine the number of wild elephants in the country is the census that was conducted in 2011. Incidentally, this is the only island-wide wild elephant census that has ever been carried out in the country. The conclusion that there are 200 tuskers in the country was arrived at following this census. Recently, a controversy arose surrounding the deaths of a number of named pachyderms. The discovery of elephant tusks from time to time by the police makes it evident that whether by natural causes or human action, tuskers in the country are dying unbeknownst to wildlife authorities. It is entirely possible that these mighty beasts are being killed for their valuable tusks. Recent discoveries of the bodies of tuskers whose tails too have gone missing makes it impossible to rule out the possibility of poaching. As a result, due consideration must be given to the suspicions of area residents regarding the safety of this tusker, who habits the Digampatana Reserve in Inamalwa, Dambulla at present. Area residents believe that this tusker usually resides in the Habrana Reserve and spends about 3 months of the year around the Digampataha Reserve, where vegetables and waste from the Dambulla Economic Centre is dumped. Wildlife officials too have affirmed the claims of area residents that the beast's tusks have grown considerably since last year. Veterinarians believe that as the tusker is only about 20 years old, his tusks could grow further in length. It is undeniable that this will increase the attraction towards this mighty animal. Fortunately for this tusker, residents around Digampataha have made constant notifications to the Sigiriya Wildlife Office and the police regarding how the tusker could also attract unsavory attention. Various groups follow this tusker in vehicles. They use off-road vehicles. They are trying to chase the tusker away from here. People from other areas come here and consume arak. We ask the authorities to ensure the safety of this tusker. The last report of the death of a wild tusker was received from Andha Pallama in Vallawaya about 2 months ago, when wildlife officers discovered the body of this pachyderm, who is believed to have been electrocuted. The tusks had been removed. Facilities must be provided to the Department of Wildlife to protect these rare beasts, even though the department has as yet failed to conduct broad investigations to recover the tusks, possibly in the hope that they will materialize at some point. Current factors, including the fact that diesel is not being supplied for the only vehicle owned by the Sigiriya Wildlife Office, cause the suspicions of these residents regarding the safety of the tusker to become reality. Minister of Wildlife Resource Conservation, this is over to you.
John F. Kennedy is the youngest U.S. president taking office at the age of 43. Tonight on Words of Wisdom, we bring you the words of Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States of America. Liberty without learning is always in peril, and learning without liberty is always in vain. John F. Kennedy.
Moving on to more local news, 2 valuable paintings by the celebrated Sri Lankan master George Keat have been stolen from a commercial building in Slave Island, Colombo.
On the 24th of this month, the Colombo Fort Magistrate issued an order to the Department of Immigration and Immigration to prevent the two masterpieces from being taken out of the country, following a request made of the court by the Slave Island Police.
George Keith මහතා විසින් නිර්මාණය කළ ඉතාම පෞරාණික වටිනාකමකින් යුක්ත
Two rare and priceless masterpieces by George Keith went missing from a wall at a commercial building in Slave Island. You cannot put a price on these masterpieces.
මනවින් සකස් කර තිබීදී පසුගිය දිනක අතුරුදන් වුණා. මේ චිත්‍ර දෙකේ වටිනාකම ඉතා අමිලයි.
If you have any information regarding the whereabouts of these two valuable George Keith masterpieces, inform the police or inform Newsfirst on our hotline 0114-896-896. The hotline 0114-896-896.
First up on international news tonight, Egyptian authorities have detained ousted President Mohamed Morsi for 15 days over an array of accusations including killing soldiers and conspiring with the Palestinian group Hamas. State media made this announcement hours after the Egyptian army formed a cordon around Tahrir Square ahead of rival mass rallies summoned by the army that ousted the state's first freely elected president.
Mohamed Morsi has been held by the military since his downfall, but until today's step by an investigating judge, he had not faced any formal legal measures. The charges relate to his escape along with top other Brotherhood leaders from Wadi El Natun prison north of Cairo. The report on the state news agency said investigating judge Hassan Samir had confronted Morsi with evidence during his questioning. It did not say when or where he had been questioned. The accusations listed against Morsi include arson, destruction of prison records, and collaboration with Hamas to undertake aggressive acts in the country, attacking police facilities, officers and soldiers. It also accused him of killing some prisoners, officers and soldiers deliberately and with prior intent. The prosecutor has issued a gag order stipulating the media may only publish his statements on the case, citing the secrecy of the investigations and national security. The order comes as Egypt braces itself for a trial of strength by numbers on the streets between pro and anti-Morsi supporters. The army has warned any attempt to use violence during mass rallies planned for today will be dealt with decisively and with force. On Wednesday, head of Egypt's armed forces, General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, called on ordinary citizens to go out into the streets and give the army a mandate to fight terrorism and violence.
And on a lighter note, the BBC reports that India's army spent over 6 months watching Chinese spy drones violating its airspace, only to find out that they were actually Jupiter and Venus. Now, tensions have been high in the disputed Himalayan border area between the two countries in recent years, with India frequently accusing its neighbour of making incursions onto its territory. The BBC, quoting Calcutta-based Telegraph, reports that Indian troops had documented 329 sightings of unidentified objects over a lake in the border region between last August and February. Only once the objects' movements were noted in relation to the stars were they identified as the planets Jupiter and Venus.
On sports first tonight, the third one-day international between Sri Lanka and South Africa is currently underway at the Pallekele International Stadium. Sri Lanka are chasing a target of 224 runs for victory.
Would South Africa be targeting?
Angelo Matthews returned to captain Sri Lanka after a 2-match suspension, while Angelo Pereira was handed his ODI debut for Sri Lanka. Winning the toss and electing to bat first, South Africa did not have the best of starts as they lost opener Alvaro Peterson for 8 runs. Tisera Pereira then struck twice to dismiss Quinton de Kock and JP Duminy. Visiting skipper A.B. de Villiers, who fought hard for his 47, was dismissed by Ajantha Mendis, who frustrated the Proteas. Following de Villiers' dismissal, David Miller took on the aggressor's role and went on to make a blistering 85 runs off 72 balls. Miller's unbeaten knock, which included 5 sixers and 4 boundaries, propelled the visitors to 223 for 7 in their allotted 50 overs. Ajantha Mendis bagged 3 wickets for 35 runs for the home team.
Very good shot.
Sri Lanka were 153 runs for the loss of 7 wickets after 38.4 overs a short while ago.
Meanwhile, in some other sports news, SLS Silva from the Kalutara district established a meet record in the women's long jump at the 25th National Youth Games today. The 25th National Youth Games is being held at the Polonnaruwa National Stadium.
Just commence the 200 meters.
With that, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Have a pleasant weekend ahead. Good night and good luck.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.